You know that feeling when you look at your accounts and technically, you're doing well? Your retirement balance is solid. Your income is strong. On paper, you've won. And yet, there's this low-grade anxiety humming in the background. The mortgage is big. The car payments are real. College is coming. Your calendar is packed. Your lifestyle feels expensive to maintain. It's success without security. Wealth without breathing room. You worked for decades to build net worth. But somehow, the higher it climbs, the tighter life feels. Hey, I'm Brian. I spend way too much time thinking about wealth psychology, financial strategy, and why so many high earners still feel financially trapped. If you're over 40 and trying to build real freedom, not just impressive numbers, this channel is for you. Consider subscribing. Here's what I've realized. After 40, there's one thing that matters more than net worth. And most people are accidentally destroying it while trying to grow their wealth. The standard advice isn't wrong. Max out your 401k. Invest consistently. Upgrade your lifestyle as your income grows. Build net worth. That's not bad advice, but it's incomplete. Think about it like marriage advice. If someone told you, just increase the size of your house and you'll have a great relationship, you'd laugh. Square footage doesn't fix tension. It doesn't create emotional safety. In the same way, growing your net worth doesn't automatically create financial safety. Here's what's interesting. According to a 2024 report from PYMNTS.com, roughly 40% of Americans earning between $300,000 and $500,000 a year report living paycheck to paycheck. Not struggling, not broke, high earners. And the 2024 Economic Well-Being Report from the Federal Reserve found that 37% of adults would struggle to cover a $400 emergency expense without borrowing or selling something. This isn't a discipline problem. It's structural. We built our financial lives around accumulation, assets, investments, equity, but ignored something more important. Margin. Financial margin is the space between what you have to do and what you can do. It's the gap between your income and your obligations. The breathing room between your lifestyle and your survival line. The flexibility to absorb shocks without panic. And after 40, that gap matters more than the size of your portfolio. I like to think of it this way. Imagine you're driving 70 miles per hour on the highway. Net worth is your fuel tank. Margin is the space between your car and the one in front of you. You can have a full tank, completely topped off, and still crash if you're tailgating. That's what so many professionals over 40 are doing. Massive portfolios. Zero braking distance. It looks like different things in real life. First, it's cash reserves. Not theoretical wealth. Not home equity. Actual liquid money. 6 months of expenses sitting in cash so that a job loss or medical issue doesn't turn into a crisis. Second, it's lower fixed costs. Housing, cars, subscriptions, tuition, the monthly commitments that don't care how you feel. Margin means those obligations consume a manageable percentage of your income, not all of it. Third, it's decision flexibility. The ability to say no to a toxic boss. The option to take a lower paying, but more meaningful role. The capacity to pause instead of panic. And maybe most importantly, it's time that isn't pre-sold. When every dollar of income is spoken for, every hour of your future is already committed. Margin gives you unclaimed time. Here's the comparison you need to remember. Margin is your braking distance. Net worth is your fuel tank. Fuel helps you go farther. Braking distance keeps you alive. After 40, survival and optionality start to matter more than speed. And the tragedy is this. Many people are obsessing over adding fuel while driving inches from disaster. Now, why does this become absolutely critical after 40? Because the game changes. First, fewer do-overs. At 28, getting fired is terrifying, but it's also survivable. You have time. You can move cities. Take risks. Start over. At 52, different story. Recruiters don't call as fast. Relocation is harder. You're not just rebuilding income. You're rebuilding runway. A mistake at 28 costs you a year. A mistake at 52 can cost you retirement. Second, increased dependencies. By your 40s and 50s, you're not just supporting yourself. You might have teenagers, college tuition looming, aging parents, a mortgage with 18 years left, According to 2024 data from the Federal Reserve, the median mortgage payment for homeowners with a mortgage is now over $2,000 per month. Add car payments, which according to 2024 data from Experian average over $700 per month for new vehicles. And you're looking at fixed costs that don't blink. That's before groceries, insurance, utilities, healthcare. Third, energy limitations. Let's be honest. At 25, you can grind. You can sleep less, hustle more, recover faster. At 45, your body keeps score. Stress hits differently. Burnout compounds. Margin isn't just financial at this stage, it's physiological. And fourth, the cost of mistakes explodes. If you panic sell investments at 30, you have decades to recover. If you make a desperate career decision at 50 because you need the paycheck next month, that decision echoes. Here's the uncomfortable truth. After 40, your biggest risk isn't low returns. It's low flexibility. And the more fixed your life becomes, the more fragile it becomes. If you're new here and just subscribed, comment your name below. I read every comment and shout out new subscribers in my next video. I do appreciate you joining me on this finance journey. There's fascinating research in behavioral economics that explains why margin matters so much. A well-known study by researchers at Princeton University and Harvard University, including economist Sindel Mullainathan, examined what happens to cognitive performance under financial stress. They found that when people were placed in scenarios involving financial strain, their cognitive capacity dropped significantly, equivalent to losing around 10 to 13 IQ points in the moment. Think about that. It's not that stressed people are less intelligent. It's that scarcity consumes mental bandwidth. When you're worried about covering expenses, your brain narrows. You focus short-term. You make reactive decisions. You protect today at the expense of tomorrow. That's the scarcity mindset. And here's the kicker. It doesn't just happen to low-income households. It happens to anyone operating without margin. A $150,000 earner who needs every dollar to survive can feel more psychological scarcity than a $90,000 earner with breathing room. This has profound implications. Because once you lose cognitive bandwidth, you make worse investment decisions, worse career decisions, worse health decisions. Margin isn't just about money. It protects your decision-making ability. And after 40, when decisions carry heavier consequences, protecting your clarity may be more valuable than chasing another percentage point of return. Let me break this down with real numbers so you can feel it. Imagine you're 45, earning $150,000 a year. Person A has built a $400,000 retirement portfolio. Impressive on paper. But their lifestyle is expensive. Mortgage, 2 car payments, private school tuition, and monthly obligations totaling $12,000. After taxes and essentials, they're stretched thin every month, living paycheck to paycheck despite high net worth. Person B has $300,000 invested. Less impressive, but their monthly expenses are $7,000. They've got $30,000 in cash, roughly 4 months of expenses. Housing and transportation are controlled. Lifestyle is manageable. Same income, different margin. Ask yourself, who sleeps better at night? Who can survive a 6-month job loss without panic? Who can say no to a toxic boss or take a lower-paying role they actually want? Here's what's striking. The Federal Reserve's 2024 Economic Well-Being Report shows nearly half of adults say unexpected expenses would create financial hardship, regardless of their nominal net worth. Liquidity and breathing room, not balances, dictate resilience. Person A has more fuel. Person B has more braking distance. And in real life, the one with lower net worth but higher margin often has more freedom, more peace, and more optionality. After 40, the lesson is clear. Optional flexibility beats raw accumulation. So, how do you rebuild margin? Here's the counterintuitive part. It doesn't start with chasing higher returns. It starts with breathing room. First, build a 6-month cash reserve. I know it feels inefficient. Cash doesn't earn the stock market's 10% per year. But that drag is actually insurance. It protects your brain and your options. If a $7,000 a month lifestyle hits turbulence, that cash buys you breathing room, not panic. Second, Cap lifestyle inflation. We live in a culture that rewards spending to impress. That extra square footage, new car, luxury gym, they chip away at margin. The deeper principle isn't denial. It's control. Every dollar spent above your enough line reduces your braking distance. Delay upgrades, slow the spiral. Third, reduce fixed obligations. Housing, cars, subscriptions, these are your chains. Even high earners often spend 50 to 60% of income on fixed costs. Trim it. Negotiate rents. Buy practical vehicles. Pause new recurring commitments. This isn't deprivation. It's freedom insurance. Fourth, build optional income streams. Margin isn't just about cutting. It's about creating buffers. A side consulting gig, part-time advisory, or even monetized expertise can absorb shocks. It transforms panic into choice. Fifth, define enough before society does it for you. It's easy to let benchmarks, college funds, friends' lifestyles, social media dictate your standard. Instead, articulate your personal threshold. When you know what's sufficient, every decision becomes a power move, not a reaction. Let me put some numbers on this. Say your current monthly obligations are $12,000. By freezing lifestyle inflation and cutting $3,000 of discretionary and fixed costs, while holding $30,000 in cash, you now have 6 months of buffer. That's not theory. That's breathing space. And with S&P 500 average returns around 9 to 10% historically, you haven't sacrificed long-term growth. You've added survival leverage. Psychologically, this is profound. Margin relieves cognitive load. You can think strategically, make career moves without desperation, invest without panic. And when life throws its inevitable curveballs, you don't just survive, you retain optionality. This is the exact opposite of chasing net worth blindly. It's the slow, deliberate construction of flexibility, the thing that actually matters after 40. Here's the thing. Building margin isn't just a financial strategy. It's an identity shift. It's the difference between surviving and thriving, between reacting to life and designing it. When you focus solely on net worth, you define yourself by numbers on a screen. When you focus on margin, you define yourself by choices, the freedom to act, to pause, to redirect. It requires a character transformation. You have to become someone who prioritizes long-term optionality over short-term gratification. Someone who resists the cultural pressure to always upgrade, always impress. Someone who values flexibility over appearances. And this identity transfers beyond finance. The discipline to preserve margin strengthens your negotiation skills, your relationships, even your health decisions. You become someone who can plan, pivot, and act with clarity. Margin becomes a muscle. Every decision reinforces it. Every time you resist the urge to overspend or overcommit, you're exercising your freedom. Think of it this way. Net worth tells the world you can accumulate. Margin tells the world you can choose. And after 40, choice is more powerful than accumulation. Margin also has huge career implications. Think about walkaway money. The ability to say no to a toxic boss, to negotiate better terms, to pursue meaningful work. That comes from breathing room, not balance sheets. According to 2024 surveys from Glassdoor, roughly 40% of workers report feeling stuck in roles they dislike because they can't afford to walk away. No margin, no leverage. Without margin, stress compounds. You take jobs for the wrong reasons. You accept offers you shouldn't. You overwork just to cover obligations. That creates a negative spiral. Longer hours, higher expenses, less flexibility. With margin, the spiral flips. You can pause, assess, and make strategic career moves. You can take calculated risks. You gain negotiating power. You can step off the treadmill without fear because your obligations are manageable and your reserves are ready. The feedback loop is powerful. Margin begets leverage. Leverage begets opportunity. Opportunity begets more margin. And it all starts with how you structure your life today. Now, let me be honest about the mistakes I see people make when chasing net worth without margin. 1. The too soon upgrade. You earn a raise and immediately buy a bigger house, new car, or luxury vacation. Every dollar spent above enough reduces your breathing room. You think wealth equals freedom. It often equals obligations. 2. The financing illusion. Credit cards, car loans, and home equity lines create a sense of temporary cash, but they're chains in disguise. $1,000 per month in payments may feel manageable, but that's $12,000 a year of lost margin. Multiply by 5 years, and you're talking about $60,000 of lost optionality. 3. The status spiral. Keeping up with peers, neighbors, or Instagram lifestyles drives invisible obligations. You inflate expenses to match appearances, not needs. You're trading control for perception. Each of these mistakes is tempting because our brains are wired to value immediate gratification and social proof. Scarcity and comparison compound stress, leading to reactive decisions. And the opportunity cost is massive. Lost sleep, lost career leverage, lost investment clarity. People with lower net worth but higher margin can outmaneuver those with higher numbers because they retain choice under pressure. Recognizing these traps is the first step. Avoiding them is where freedom begins. So what should you do instead? Think in principles, not rigid rules. Preserve 6 months of cash reserves. Cap lifestyle spending before chasing raises. Reduce fixed obligations wherever possible. Build optional income streams. Define your enough, personally, not socially. Here's what I want you to remember. After 40, margin matters more than net worth. 2 people can have the same income. One stressed, one free. One trapped, one thriving. The difference isn't how much they've accumulated. It's how much breathing room they've built. Ask yourself, could I survive a 6-month disruption without panic? How much of my income is tied to obligations versus choice? Am I living below my means or just to impress? Do I have flexibility in career and lifestyle decisions? If the answer is no to more than one, it's time to rethink. Drop it in the comments. What's one area you could create more margin in your life today? Hit like, subscribe, and start building freedom that outlasts your net worth.